Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
What's your name?
My name is Cate.
Hi, Cate. Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio. And how long have you been in the Bay Area?
This will be my second winter here, so just like a year and a half, I think.
A year and a half. And are you liking it?
Yeah, I like it well enough. It's colder than I thought it would be.
Last winter was so rainy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what kind of work do you do? What do you do out here?
Right now I'm a server,
Mm-hmm.
prospective actress, but not quite practicing right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. What kind of acting do you like to do?
Well, I studied comedy in college,
Mm-hmm.
but I can do anything, really. Definitely don't mind a good, solid piece of dramatic work. Certainly like more geared towards film, but primarily I've done stage in my life.
That's really cool. So you studied acting, like theater in college?
Yeah, and in high school and middle school.
Oh, cool. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Columbia College, Chicago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How was your experience with that?
Well, I dropped out, so
Oh,
yeah, no, it was cool. Met a lot of really, really cool people. Met my husband there. Yeah, it was really fun. Way too expensive. I studied comedy, so like real major right off the bat. But no, it was really fun. Yeah.
is your husband an actor as well?
Oh, he does film.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. What kind of films does he make?
He makes more experimental. Right now he's been doing like, how do I say, like business type things for right now he's working with a pizza company to make their digital media.
Oh, nice. Is he doing like their advertisements and stuff?
I think he will be at some point. The place isn't open yet. But yeah, he does he's putting together some footage. Like he goes out to the farms and like records some stuff that the pizza place uses. And then he's editing together like GoPro footage for like just constant stream of media, which is what they're trying to do. It's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How did you like Chicago?
I liked it a lot, actually. Like, my husband and I were talking about how we would move back there. Can I say, like, but only if weed is legalized?
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Sure.
I just did. Okay. Yeah, no, definitely, like, we would consider moving back, but only after weed is legalized there, because it's, like, too much of a hassle otherwise. Like, we don't, like, do it, per se, like, every single day. Like, that's our main thing. But it's nice to be able to, so...
Yeah, I think it's nice, too, to not feel like a criminal, you know,
Yeah.
for something that actually seems pretty minor.
It's like, I'd rather not break the law, so I'll live in California for now.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not legal in Chicago.
No, only if you're, like, dying from cancer or something.
Huh. How long ago was that when you were in Chicago?
2015
Just
to
a couple of years ago.
2016, yeah. So, like, I'm getting 2-year notifications on my Facebook. It's like, oh no, that was so long ago.
Where did you go to high school?
Toledo School for the Arts.
Mhm.
And that was my middle school as well. It's a charter school in downtown Toledo.
Cool. What's Toledo like?
It's really cool. It's a Rust Belt city. So a lot of the businesses, the large factory jobs are gone out of the city, which definitely left a indent on the like housing and yeah, just in general, we've had some tough times with the city, but it started bouncing back by the time like I was leaving. Like there was a really great artistic vibe and community growing when I left. And when I went back, actually, just a few months ago, they were making like more farm to table, more like good, wholesome, like more of the type of stuff you would see around here in Berkeley. That's sort of the fresh new vibe that's coming into Toledo.
Oh,
So
I
it's,
gotcha.
it's definitely it's moving towards more of that I don't know, like eclectic feel, I guess. Yeah.
What's rent like in Toledo?
What rent? It's really cheap. Like me and my husband rent a studio for $1,500 before utilities. And the same square footage that we could get in Ohio, we would get for like $400.
Wow.
Yeah. Like some places it would be like $350. But that's like before utilities are added in, but still, it's really cheap.
Yeah, super cheap.
Like especially studios. Like no one lives in a studio apartment in Toledo. Like you at least have one bedroom because there's space for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I feel like I've asked people this a couple of times. So even though it is so much more expensive, do you feel like you get more being here, like being in Berkeley in the Bay Area?
Yeah, so before I moved here, I would have never dreamed about having two jobs, let alone going to two separate jobs in the same day. But I've had that twice now when living here. So I think it definitely makes me more productive as a person. Certainly like the pressure to make more money because I do make more money because I know that I have to. So if I were in Ohio, I'd probably be more like leisurely and lax about like, well, rent's only $400, so I guess I'll just work like one part-time job for minimum wage because you'd make that much in rent. But out here, it's like even if you're working minimum wage, you're not necessarily gonna make enough to pay rent unless you work enough.
Right.
So it's a good pressure. Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with people that you went to school with?
Yes and no. So, like, my best friend in high school, she just got married, like, 2 weeks ago and, like, didn't tell me at all. And I was just like, oh my God. But at the same time, like, other people who I didn't even talk to when I was in high school, like, those are now the people who I come back and really hang out with. Or, like, kids who I didn't really have classes with. Like, those are the ones that I really talk to more.
Do you feel like a lot of people left Toledo, or do you feel like a lot of people are still there?
Yeah, a lot of people left. And granted, I had a really small class size, like maybe only 70 people graduated with me. And that's not, like everyone in my class graduated. So, very small school. Yeah, and pretty much, like, I want to say almost half the students went out of state. Like, I know at least in my theater kids, like half of them went like in state but far away in Ohio, and then the other half like went to Chicago, or I think someone went to Virginia, but I'm not sure, like somewhere like east south.
So you probably did like a lot of plays and stuff in high school and in college?
Yeah.
Do you have one that was your favorite or a favorite role?
I really liked Our Town. I was the little sister, Rebecca. Yeah. It was a very small role, and it was my freshman year. So it was a cool part. She didn't really have that many lines, but at the end of the first act, she had this one monologue about a letter being delivered or something like that. And it was simple, but the grand scope of it, like, it was like, just to say it shortly, it was like a letter addressed to a street, to a thing. Then it was like, in the state, in the country of, in the continent of, in the world of, in the universe of, and then it just like kept going grander and grander. And she's like, yep, that was just it. And that's how it concluded pretty much. And it's just like, that was just really neat. I really liked Our Town. It was cosmic and yet so simple.
Yeah, what would you say the synopsis is? What would you say that play's about?
It's about life. It
Is
really
is it Thornton Wilder?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've actually never seen that play before.
Oh, it's really good. It's basically about these two kids. Like you meet them when they're in high school, George and Emily, and then you get to know them. You get to know their family. Then in the second act, they get married. Or no, in the second, I forget. It's been so long. But basically, you see them as kids. Then you see them like getting married, and then the third act, Emily is dead. So it's really interesting. Like, it really is just an analysis of life and living it and what the human experience is.
Do we know why she died?
Childbirth.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Great Depression era. It's like one of the better pieces of work to be produced during the Depression era because it was like minimal set pieces. Like they had 2 ladders, like typically in how it's usually put on. There's like 2 ladders and then just the cast sits on stage. And it's just minimalist, but so heavy, you know. It's like really, it's trivial, but at the same time, it's the human experience. So
Sure.
nothing trivial about that.
Do you have a play that you felt was like your least favorite?
Oh, my least favorite that I did. I was in ragtime, and it was really bad because I didn't really care for it too much. It was just all song and dance, and I didn't really feel like there was substance by context of what was going on in the play, but I don't think they really presented it too well. So I just never really got behind it. And it was like the last night of the show, I was watching it from backstage. I'm just like, I didn't even know that this was in the show. Like, this was part of it. Like, I heard 2 musical numbers that I didn't even know existed in the context of ragtime. It's just like, oh man, I did a bad job.
What would you say? That's another one. I'm actually really terrible with theater. I don't... like, I feel like really common plays, I just don't know.
Sure.
What would you say Ragtime is about?
It's about the immigrant. Well, I don't want to say that the immigrants were an issue, but there was an issue with, like, just classes and the immigrants and then the black people. So you have these 3 different groups of people, you know, the wealthy white ones and then the immigrants, primarily, like, Jewish immigrants, I think was the main focus of that. And then...
What era would you say this is?
It's the turn of the century.
Okay.
Yeah, right on the turn of the century. Yeah, it was just... I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
It's like, it was so inconsequential to me. Like, there was some really good songs in it, like Your Father's Child or something like that. Is so heart-wrenching. It's Sarah sings it to her baby, like, about how, like, your dad is like a fighter, he's a like strong, brave man. He's like, you're just like your dad, you have his eyes, you know, and stuff like that. It's like, oh shoot, that was heavy. But other than that, like, nothing really blew me away about Ragtime. So
do you feel like that was a good, was that like a good experience for you overall to be in a high school that was like a performing arts high school as opposed to just like a public high school?
Oh yeah, no, I don't really like school so much. Don't know why really. Just never really jived with me. I was really good at it, like, despite never really paying attention or doing. I did the homework, but like, I didn't really like invest myself thoroughly into it, but I was still an A and B student, so it's not like I was punished for not caring, you know, like I could just not study for anything ever, like, and I would still get a good grade, so no consequences. It was bad, but certainly going to an art school was better than any other school that I could have gone to, because for like the first half of my high school year, I had like 3 art classes, and then for the second, like, ending half of my career, I had like 4 out of 7. So it was definitely a really great environment for me. I could push through the 3 academic classes just to like get to my theater class or get to my costuming class.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I used up all my sick days every single year. Yeah, didn't really care for school too much.
What kind of stuff did you do in the costuming class?
So we had, it was like, we had a dance section, we had a theater section, and we had a visual arts and a musical section. The dance section had like 3 different studios, and I would say every other month, one of the studios put on a big dance performance or something of that nature. Like, it seemed like every other month we had to make costumes for someone else's dance performance or for the middle school play. And we had a costuming room like that we kept our stored props in and stored costumes. So it would be like we would make stuff, we would help costume the plays, and then yeah, just learning how to sew.
That's really cool. What kind of costumes did you make?
My senior project is the one I'm most proud of. I made a real leather jacket.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you even go about that?
So, really cool tip. You go to the Goodwill and you buy a like secondhand leather jacket. You make sure it's 100% leather. And like there's a technique to tell, like, don't go by smell, don't go by like how it looks. What you do is you pinch the 2 pieces of leather together and you rub it in between your fingers. And it's really hard to describe, but you'll feel it. You'll feel the skin rubbing together, and like there's a slight amount of drag. Like if it's fake leather, there's either no drag or like way too much. So it's like this nice in between, and you can feel the organicness of it. It's like when you rub your fingers together, but imagine it being leather. So you just find 100% leather, and then you cut the jacket up into little pieces, and you sew it back together.
Huh.
So for about $20, well, not including like the zippers and all the buttons. All right, so $20 for the leather jacket, not including all the other stuff that I had to buy to make the jacket. I could flip that for about like, I could sell that jacket for at least $100.
Huh.
So you definitely make a profit off of it because people pay extra for real leather.
Was it like a punk rock jacket with like?
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
it kind
wow,
of
that's
looks
super
like
cool.
Deadpool almost. Like it's red, and then it has like a black stripe right here, and then it's like red on the arms, then black on the inside. It's really cool. I like
That's
it. I should
super
have worn
awesome.
it.
Do you still have it?
I do.
That's really cool.
I never got around to putting pockets in it though, so it's like, yeah. Like I could, I just haven't.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have a twin sister.
Oh wow, twin sister. Is she into acting and stuff too?
So she went to TSA as well, but she fluctuated between several different majors. Even still in college, she's still fluctuating between majors. So she is definitely artistic. She was more towards like the visual arts, less she's outgoing, but like, what am I trying to say?
Like extroverted?
Yes, that's the word. She was not so much into the extroverted arts. But she was really good at guitar. Like, she played guitar for a while. Got really good at it. But she never really was too confident with any of her skills. So, what can you do?
Yeah.
Just tell someone they're good, but it's no use if they don't really feel it themselves.
So do you feel like your personalities are very different? Like you're more extrovert, she's more introvert?
Yeah, pretty much. And like the thing is like I don't really know my sister so well anymore. It's kind of sad really because we were super close when we were younger, like inseparable. And then we were separated by the school because they thought it was unhealthy to keep twins together. I was definitely very codependent, so they're like, oh, well, we'll just put them in different classes. And Tori, she got on fine, but I was like crying every single day when my mom dropped me off for school. So, yeah, and now my sister's in Japan for the semester. She's studying architecture and Japanese culture. But yeah, I don't think that she's gonna go into architecture though. Like, I really don't know what career she's gonna pick. But look at me talking. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. So.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
Just turned 21 like last month.
So you're both like super young. I feel like it takes a long time to kind of figure it out. That's really cool that she's in Japan though. Does she send you like pictures and stuff like that?
Yeah, she posted it on Facebook and I follow her. And yeah, she sends me pictures of her drinking sometimes. Not like trashy, but because when we were younger, she was always just like, no. Like, even on New Year's, when our parents would pour us champagne, I would always drink mine, and then Tori would just, like, trade glasses with me. So I would always get double. And it's just like, when she told me she's drinking, I'm like, oh, shoot, now I don't get to do that anymore. And it's like, wait, I haven't gotten to do that in, like, 3 years, because I haven't been home.
She just didn't did she not like being drunk?
Yeah, that, and I think it was also just, like, the flavor. Like, she still doesn't drink beer. She says Jaeger bombs are her favorite. So there's what she's drinking. Yeah. My dad used to make us White Russians when we would watch The Big Lebowski, and she hated them. Like, she thought they were so gross. I'm like, dude, how?
Do you think about going back to school ever?
I know that I have to. And, like, it really is a have to at this point because of the way the world is right now. Like, people care if you have a degree. It doesn't really matter where or what. Certainly not looking forward to it. If anything comes up where it's, like, a stable, like, 10-year commitment where I don't need to go to school, like, I will never go to school. But seeing as what's happening in my life right now, that's not really popping up. And I certainly don't want to be a server for the rest of my life. Like, I could. Certainly people do that, but yeah, I don't want to. So having a degree under my belt would definitely be beneficial for the rest of my life.
Sure.
Just don't really want to invest the time right now.
Yeah, it seems tough because it does seem like what you're saying. It's like people want people that have a degree, and it almost like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It almost like it doesn't matter what it is or where it's from, but then tuition and stuff is so crazy. So then you like bury yourself under debt, and it's like, well, what kind of sense does that make? You know?
Also, I have to work full time just to afford rent, so there's that aspect of it too. Like,
where would the time or the money or anything come from? That's true.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't really fancy taking out student loans like I did to go to Chicago. I took out like $5,000 or $6,000 worth, and at the time it was just like, at the time I thought, oh no, this isn't so much. Then it's just like, now while I'm paying it off, and I'm still paying it off, and it's just like, this is like way too much. And that was like only like a quarter of my tuition. Like, I didn't really get that much for FAFSA? Yeah, that one. Like, my sister and I, we both applied at the same time, and like, we didn't really get too much support from the government. And my dad also didn't want to pay for our college. Like, he ended up folding after I played his hand. I was just like, well, I'm not gonna go. He's like, all right, fine. But yeah, certainly don't want to rely on my parents to like pay for my stuff, you know. I'd rather do what they did and get an education by their own money, you know. Like, just doesn't seem to happen so much anymore.
Yeah. Are your parents artistic as well?
My mom is more than, well, I say that, but my dad's doing improv now, so it's like I can't.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, my mom has always been the more artistic one. She never really was a proper artist, but I mean, like, in regards to like being trained classically. But she definitely helped out around the school, helped out when we did productions and stuff. So she liked to be creative and like do some fun stuff. My dad, on the other hand, is a computer engineer. He is very smart, very, very smart, intimidatingly smart. And really, he's funny. He has like this dry sense of humor. It was good to grow up around. It really helped me out in college. But yeah, no, he's been doing improv now for I think like the past year or two, and that's really cool. I really admire him for that. You know. It got to the point like I just started taking improv classes again just to like get my feet wet. You know, brush off that rust because oh dear God, like there is so much dust right now. But it's like, well, my dad can't be having all the fun doing the improv, so it's like, well, I'll do it too. So.
How did that go?
Yeah, I want to get into like a better improv group. Like the one I'm in right now, it's okay. Like it's just a lot of older people just doing it for fun, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I kind of want to be in a group of people who are more serious, you know. I think that breeds progression more than just, oh, we're doing it for fun, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Have you it seems like there's a lot of that in the Bay Area, different improv groups and stuff like that. Have you found any others that you feel like seem more attractive to you? You know,
I just got halfway through this course, so I'm going to start looking into more. Like there's the Berkeley rep that has some improv. I haven't really looked at their website yet, but I know they exist, so that's one step. I'm a little bit lazy.
What is the best job you've ever had?
Oh. Well, I did get paid to act a few times, and those have always been my favorite. I did a PSA against bullying when I was in high school. I got like $200 for that, and I was just like,
wow, that's really cool.
Sick. So, yeah, I really, like, it doesn't feel like work when I'm acting, and certainly feels like I got some free money when they pay me to act. So those are my favorite jobs. Second would probably have to be serving, like the job I have right now.
What about the opposite? What about the worst job you've ever had?
I haven't really had like a worst job. I mean, I was a camp counselor for a little bit, but I wasn't paid to do that. And the kids were fun. I just kind of like don't like kids so much. They're a bit ridiculous. And like they don't make sense. I mean, they make sense in the fact that they don't know anything, so expect that from them. Other than that, it's like, oh my God, just it's like stop asking me questions.
Was it like a sleepaway camp?
No, it was a theater camp.
Oh, I see.
And I was in the main production, their teen production rather. And I volunteered to help out because you would do the summer camp and then just hang out and go to the rehearsal. So it was pretty chill.
The kids were teenagers?
No, they were like little kids, like elementary school, yeah.
Well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. You see all the hope in their eyes, you know? No one cares what they look like just yet.
Yeah. Do you see yourself staying in the Bay Area for a while? Are you happy here?
More or less. Like, my husband's father is here. His sister, half-sister, and his stepmom, too. So, yeah, I could see us staying here for a little bit. I would like to try living in, like, Los Angeles, somewhere a bit warmer. Like I said earlier, Chicago definitely was, like, one of my I want to say it was, like, my favorite place to live. And I say like just because my family's in Ohio and Toledo, and you can never replace family. You know, you can never replace your family home. Unless you, like, have bad times with that, then, like, yeah, you should probably replace it. But, yeah, no, Chicago was really cool. I loved the city life. I loved just walking around the streets at, like, 4 a.m., you know, because no one's out. Like, the cars aren't cruising down the street. You can walk underneath the L line, you know, like where they film Batman. Like you just like walk, like it's like, oh, I'm walking where Batman was driving, you know. It was really cool. I really liked living there.
What's the cost of living like there?
It's just cheaper than out here. So it's still pretty expensive. Certainly minimum wage isn't as expansive out there as it is here. But yeah, so for my students' 1-bedroom apartment, I was paying $9.50 with all utilities included, including internet and cable.
Well, that's not bad at all.
So, no, not at all. Yeah, so just like it's around the same pricing as here.
Yeah, I haven't. I went to Chicago once, but it wasn't for very long, so I'm not super familiar with Chicago. Actually, the Midwest, I'm not that familiar with.
Well, I got you covered if you have any questions. It was really cool because you only had to remember like 3 directions: north, south, and east, and nothing was west. Sorry, I'm bad at directions, and I only needed to remember 3. Anyway, yeah, because you had the Lake Michigan right on the side of Chicago, so never had to go east ever.
Did you go to the lakes like during the summer and stuff, like for fun?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really stay in the school at the summertime, but like early in the year, it was definitely still hot, and especially in the spring, it would get hotter. There were a few beaches around the area. Yeah, there was this really cool spot that my friend Evan took me to. It was like a 30-minute walk. It was past Soldier Field, for anyone who knows where Soldier Field is. South of that, and you would just keep walking until you got to like a grassy area. Then you would walk through the grass and it opened up to like trees and rocks, and then past the rocks was like just waves crashing onto it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he found this swing set that was just suspended on 2 like dying trees. And it was really cool. So I went back to that swing set, I think 3 or 4 times during the school year. And on the last visit there, one of the artists who was working on that swing set came by, and it's just like, oh my gosh, people are here using it. Let me interview you. Because apparently her and like a friend and maybe like one other person like put up that swing set just like out in the middle of semi-nowhere and just left it there for a year to see what would be there when they got back. And it was me and my friends. It was really cool. Like there was some graffiti that accumulated on it. The rope broke once, but they tied it back together. Someone did. So it was a really neat. I didn't know it was an art project or like an installation, but it makes sense now. It's like, yeah, it's a nice little swing set off into Lake Michigan.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Ooh, I like drinking, I like smoking, I like playing video games.
What's your favorite game right now?
Right now, we just got the Xbox Scorpio. Me and my husband have been PlayStation fanboys like for our entire lives, so it's a real departure. Like we're figuring out the controllers. It's like, what button is it? But right now I'm playing Mass Effect Andromeda, which I really loved the first 3 games. The last game was sort of like meh. And I really held off buying Andromeda because of just all the bad press and just it didn't really live up to everyone's expectations, so I waited until it was on sale. Like instead of paying $60, I paid like $20. So, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It seems like a very standard BioWare Mass Effect game, you know? I like the character development that happens in those games, certainly. The world that the developers have to create is just so vast. It's it's really inspiring, just as a creator. And yeah, I like all the choices that you can make.
That's cool.
Yeah, what is it, buddy?
Do you feel like you are the type of person, do you like seek out a lot of theater and plays and stuff like that to go to?
No, I don't, and that's like a problem. It really is, because it's not like the more involved you are, the more involved you are. So I'm not very involved, which like at least I can acknowledge it, and I'm not just like questioning like, why isn't it happening right now? It's because I'm not letting it, or it's not that I'm not letting it happen, I'm just not making it happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be your ideal, would be to be an actress, like
Yeah.
full time.
I would really enjoy that. I don't really know how that would work out per se, but you know, it would be cool. Yeah. Hey, you.
If you put him on your lap, sometimes he will quiet down.
Hey, you. Do you want to get over here? Up you go.
How long have you been married?
It'll be 2 years in April, so about a year and a half, I think.
About a year and a half.
Yeah. It's pretty chill. Like, I married my best friend, so it's kind of different though, because like when we were dating, we were super like boyfriend girlfriendy. But now it's like in like the least weird way. It's like we're brother and sister more than we're like boyfriend girlfriend anymore, you know? It's like this weird dynamic that, because we're a family now, we like really are, and yeah. it's weird. It's like we're super close to each other.
It's probably nice to have a little bit of a network too with his family here and stuff, so it's not like you're like completely out here on your own.
Yeah. That is pretty nice. It's like I didn't really appreciate that entirely until I realized, oh no, we see them like every other week pretty much. And like I think that that's good. Like it's always good to have family nearby. And even though it's not my family, like they still treat me as such. So it's refreshing.
I think it keeps you kind of anchored.
Yeah.
To have family around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think one of the big things in life is relationships. And family is just a relationship that you have definitively. You know, like you're born into family, so that's already a relationship that you've gotten. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What's something that you would like to see or do before you die?
Oh, man. A lot. Everything. I don't know. Can I list the things I don't want to see or do? I feel like
Sure.
that's a better... I don't want to skydive. I don't, like... It's like... I want to visit India, but at the same time, I really don't want to visit India. Like... It's just because, like, there's so many people there. I'm, like, I would get too claustrophobic, especially because, like, English, like, people speak English over there, but, like, I can't expect everyone to, so, I don't know. That just seems like a overwhelming thing. Like, I don't think I'll ever visit India. I don't want to climb any mountains. I don't really care to... Yeah, don't really care to see a volcano. Some people are, like, really turned about that. Nah, never need to see lava in my life. I'm good off that.
What if you were in Hawaii and you had the opportunity to go see lava?
Well, when in Hawaii,
Sure.
might as well. But it's not like I would go to Hawaii specifically to see lava. Or I
Yeah.
wouldn't go to Hawaii and then, like, take a 2-hour car ride to go see lava.
Sure.
But if I were in Hawaii and, like, it was a 30-minute bus to some active lava, I'd be like, all right, sure, I guess. Yeah. I don't really want to be a dog breeder. Like, that's just a thing. It's just like, nah. It's super specific, but also, like...
What countries do you feel like you would love to go to?
Oh, I love visiting Italy. That's, like, the one country I have been to. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it. And I eat so much pasta when I go there, and I kind of gain weight, but I walk it off for the most part, you know? Because you just walk everywhere.
The lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to visit Japan. Certainly my sister could help me out there. Singapore sounds really lovely. Hong Kong in the same vein. I'm definitely going to have to visit Colombia because that's where my father-in-law is from.
Oh, okay.
Brazil sounds like a fun time too while I'm down there. Yeah, I'd like to visit South Africa. It sounds like they know how to party. Yeah, Austria, Germany. I would love to visit every European country, really, just because that's where my history is from, my ancestry. Very European there. So I would love to just check it out, you know? Yeah, just a little bit of everywhere. I'd like to go to Australia. Probably Sydney, you know, basic. Or New Zealand. See where they filmed stuff. Just be like, oh man, it is this beautiful.
Yeah, New Zealand seems really cool.
Everyone I've met who's from New Zealand, they're just like the chillest people. They're really cool.
Do you have any pets?
I have a dog in Ohio. I adopted him before I knew I was gonna elope. So.
Oh, you eloped?
Yeah. Yeah, like, I didn't tell my parents that I got married until, like, because April, May. Yeah, like, at least a month later. Like, more than a month later. It was just like, oh yeah, by the way, I got married, like, last month.
Did you not tell them because you didn't think they would approve?
I don't even know what I was thinking. Like, yeah, that, you know, like, thinking of it now, I feel like such an adult with all my independent decisions. But I guess retrospectively, like, it really felt like I needed to ask my parents' permission for any, like, big life choices. It was very rebellious, and, like, we wanted to live together, like, super bad, but my parents would be like, nah, because we both knew we were going to drop out of school, and I wanted to move back with him to California, but my parents definitely wouldn't be chill with that, you know? They'd be like, no, you're staying in school, and you're going to not live with your boyfriend. Like, come on, Kate. It's just like, well, you can't tell me I can't live with my husband. So we did that, and then we moved out here, and it's been a blast. Like, of course, there's hard times, you know. Oh, always are, but, you know, the good outweighs the bad, so we're sticking with it.
Do your parents like him?
Yeah, they like him. They weren't sure at first. Like he's a nice guy. A bit on the quiet side sometimes, but, you know, it's because English isn't really his first language.
Oh, what's his
he's
first
shy.
language?
His first language, Spanish. Then he learned Russian. Then he learned Ukrainian.
Huh.
And then the fourth language was English. So he didn't even, like, start learning that until he was, like, a bit older. He moved to America when he was 10. And what he would say is, I'll never need to know English. I will never use it in my life. There's no point. And now he's married to a girl who only speaks English. So that's how that worked out for him.
Where was he living the first 10 years?
In Albany.
Ah, okay.
So right north of Berkeley.
Huh.
Albany, California. So this has been his area for a little bit. It's really stupid because he doesn't have an accent at all. Like, he just sort of talks like, yeah, just normal. And I was, like, sitting not the other day, but, like, at one point I was sitting and just thinking, oh, shoot, Cate, you made a promise to yourself to marry a foreigner with an accent. Then it's like, wait a second. I married someone whose, like, parents aren't even from this country. Like, he wasn't even in this country until he was 10. And it's like, that's pretty foreign. He
Yeah,
just doesn't have an
definitely.
accent. So it's like half a ripoff.
How did you guys know that you felt like it was right to not go to school anymore?
We just sort of hated the college. Like, the teachers were really cool, most of them at least. But the administration, like the people who got paid the most, were real. Can I swear?
Sure.
Like, they were dickwads. They really fucking sucked. Sorry, like, just went straight out there, but
How
yeah.
come?
Like, I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, they were just, they didn't care. Like, I was having issues and I tried, like, bringing it up to the vice principal and, like, the dean, and, like, no one cared. Like, nothing was done to help alleviate my situations. Yeah, there was, like, a girl in my class who I just couldn't be in the class with her because she was just ruining my like, with that, like, I don't want to get into it, but she was lightweight ruining my life. Like, she had her friends, like, not threaten me, but, like, challenge me to fights and stuff. It's just like, and at the time I was, like, real punk rock, you know, like, my side of my head was shaven, I had, like, spider webs and shit, like, bright pink hair and, like, blue hair and, like, green hair sometimes, but, like, for the most part it was pink because I like that color. And so, like, just people being obnoxious to me, and, like, I would go to like, try and, like, talk to, like, the counselors and everything, like, say, hey, can we stop this? And they wouldn't. Like, they're like, it's freedom of speech. And, like, so I had an issue, and I, like, typed up a post on my class year, and I was just like, hey, why don't we stop bullying each other? And I got kicked out of the class chat by, like, an official moderator. And it's like, I'm like, okay, so people are shitting on me and you punish me? Okay. I don't want to be a part of this, you know? It was ridiculous. But yeah, life moves on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if it's like you feel like you're not in a place where you're getting what you want out of it, then why spend all that money?
Exactly. It's like half the kids were really cool. The other half were like vapid, whiny whores, you know. Made some really good friends though.
Do you still keep in touch with them?
Yeah, especially my best friend Zoot. The best friend that I didn't marry. Yeah, he was really great. I call him at least once a week. We text, Skype. Keep telling him he needs to come visit. No one ever comes to visit me. I'm just like, it's bullshit.
Are they still in Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago or my friends in Toledo, just in general. Like, haven't really seen anyone unless, like, I go out there, which I really can't afford to all the time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I certainly burned a few bridges. Like, some people were very disappointed that I got married. They're like, what? Like, you? Seriously? I don't want to hang out with you anymore because you're married. You're not going to be fun anymore. It's just like, I don't want to hang out with you because you don't think I'm going to be fun anymore. That's very shallow, and I don't want to be around shallow people. So, yeah, Thank you for making that choice for me.
What was it like when you eloped? Did you guys like go somewhere or
We
like
went to the courthouse.
Mhm.
It was really fun. Yeah, we just went to the courthouse, we actually didn't have anyone there with us because the day that we tried to all organize it, we forgot the piece of paper that we needed.
Oh,
So we just went the day afterwards, but our friends were all in class, so we just went and then kept living life.
yeah. Did it feel different, the relationship after you got married?
Um, not until we were living in California. And even then, it wasn't until like a few months after we started living in California. Then it was more like, all right, we're a family now. Like, we have to pay bills now. Certainly, relationships are a lot easier to have when you don't have to worry about paying rent. Because my parents took care of that for me, and his parents took care of that for him. So it's like,
When you guys were in school?
yeah, when we were
I
in
see.
school. So it was like, we really had no pressing, urgent matters. I mean, I guess school should have been, but, you know, we dropped out. So it was like, yeah, no. We just lived our lives, had no really consequences, no limitations. It was really chill.
What did your parents say when they found out that you dropped out?
I mean, like, I finished the semester for the most part. Like, couple classes I didn't complete. Certainly wouldn't want my transcript being sent anywhere I'm applying to. It's real bad. If I had went back, I would have been on academic probation. So, just decided to cut that out. I was like, all right, I'm done.
Were your grades bad because did you just like not go to class?
Yeah, I just didn't go to class a lot of the times. Didn't really do the homework, you know. Classic me, except for it cost me a lot more money this time. So I'm like, I'll go back to school when I feel damn ready to. And it's like, I don't. But it's like, I also don't want to be going back to school when I'm in my 30s. Like, I feel like that's a bit too late. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to go back right now. So mid-20s, it's looking like.
How did your sister react when she found out that you got married?
She was like, I don't know. Because I didn't really see my family until a few months after I told them. Like, it was a month later that, like, I arrived back home almost. It was maybe a bit less than a month. But still, like, the initial shock had already worn off. My sister, she was more just like, all right, sure, you know, because we weren't really that heavily in contact with each other. Yeah, she was just like, sure. My dad was like, well, like, this is what I imagine him doing. Don't have to pay for her anymore, you know? Like, so I think he was happy just for that, like, me becoming independent and an adult, you know, buying my own stuff. And my mom, she was happy, but like the phone call I made, I'm like, hey mom, I have to tell you something. And she's like, oh no. I'm like, mom, I'm not pregnant. She's like, thank God. I'm like, I did get married though. And she's like, oh, okay. Just now? Is like, no, a month ago. She's like, oh. And the conversation didn't last much longer after that. And apparently what she did right after she hung up was she just cried. Like, she just cried for like 30 minutes. And my sister came in and she's like, why are you crying? She's like, Cate got married. She's like, are you sad? What's wrong? And she's like, I'm not sad. I'm just crying.
Why do you think she cried?
Yeah, it's very emotional, you know? It's life. It's beautiful. It's hard. Certainly when there's someone living inside you, you don't expect them to be married at 19, probably. You know? It's just, life is so overwhelming sometimes. You can just cry. It makes you feel better.
Do you and your husband ever do like little sketches or like shorts or anything, like videos?
No, No, and we should. We really should. It's like something that we talk about, but we never do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back to like when I first made my YouTube channel, my dad was just like, you can't just make videos. It's like you have to actually have a purpose and have a point and have a well thought out idea. And you can't just go make a video and just like put it up there. Like that's just clouding the internet. It's just clutter at that point. So definitely that really struck a chord with me at a very early age. So certainly I would like to do something, but if I feel like I can't just like mentally, I just can't just do anything. Like for me, I feel like if it has a purpose, if it has a point, you know, if there's a message behind it, like it's more powerful and meaningful. And right now I just really don't have a message to get behind, so I really haven't really been creating. You know, I probably need to let go of that standard and just like make shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've seen with people is, because it's really, how do you know that? Like, how do you know like what you're, because on the one hand, I think that's definitely true, like what your dad is saying. If you just like put out these like one-off situations, like how are you ever going to get anyone to like notice it? It has to be like this like larger thing or something. But then how do you ever know what the larger thing is until you kind of, almost like until you do like a lot of bad work,
Exactly,
you know?
Yeah. I've been looking into Dan Harmon lately, just researching his career and his like artistic stuff.
Who is that?
He's the creator of Communities and Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He does a few other things too. Well, a lot of other things, but...
What's the Communities? What is that?
It's a sitcom about people. I never really watched it, but it's critically acclaimed. Like, it's a good show.
Is it, do you know who the actors are that are in it?
Donald Glover's one of them.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm glad you knew off of that one, because I don't remember the names of anyone else. But yeah, so one thing that he would do is he would just make like little shorts just for fun. And there was this one time he made this short called Beware the Electric Pussy or something like that. And like he was just making it to test out like some effects on After Effects, you know, like some lightning effects. And it's on his Internet Movie Database page now.
Oh, how funny.
So he's like, I don't know. I was just messing around. Just made that to mess around, literally. And now it's one of his credits. So certainly there is merit to just going out and creating. It's
Does
not
your
all
husband
for
do
naught.
that, like After Effects as well?
Yeah, he does. And he's more into just like goofing off and like making abstract stuff. Like sometimes I'll come home and like he's made a kaleidoscope thing. He's like, look what I did. It's like, wow, babe. Cool. And then I'll notice the dishes haven't been done. I'm like, oh. Life. Hey, you're a good dog.
Okay, look straight ahead at the camera for me. And look, let's see. Look, show me disappointed. Okay, very good. And then show me like really angry. Like when you felt like the people were like being bullying and assholes at school.
I was just like...
Show me, what was it like when you first moved into your apartment in Berkeley, when you first like got, like when you finally like signed the lease and you guys were like in there and moved in?
With words or my face?
With face.
It's like,
What about in words? What was it like?
ah, shit. Okay. All right. Guess this is California. Guess I'm an adult making money, paying rent. Okay, sure.
Did it... Whoop. Will you press the big button on the timer? Okay, the final question that I like to ask people is, what advice or maybe insights that you've had on life so far that maybe you could share with future generations?
Sure.
What would you tell people in the future?
Everything is meaningless, and that is beautiful. Certainly means that you can find your own meaning, which you need to in order to like have a driving force in your life. Yeah, nothing you do on Earth, unless you're like a lucky 0.0%, like nothing you do on Earth is gonna matter, you know. Next 200 years, you're gonna be history. So what does that leave you? It leaves you to your own self, you know. You're gonna have to live with yourself for your entire life, and you're gonna have to live with knowing that you're unimportant, that in the grand scheme of things your life is insignificant. So you're the one who has to give it significance, and you're the one who's gonna have to give fulfillment to yourself. And it's very scary. It's definitely not a pleasant thought to think. But at the end of the day, knowing that and knowing how to move forward with that in mind can give you the most fulfilling life that you could possibly ever hope to lead.
Nice. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.